Today we talk about this line: global performance and group cohesion, how K-pop groups operate. But today is different. This red straight line will explain us something else completely different from the how do they operate, because today we'll be talking about where do they operate. What do we mean by this? The concept of this is how broad is their market? How many other groups are doing the same? That's why we got two new rankings: Archetype and Specialist. What's on a Specialist? Something unique, something that very few people, or in this case very few groups, can do. What is an Archetype for this scenario? How many times has something been repeated that it became a constant? That it became even a trend? Because this is only a one-dimensional model. The moment we add some height to this, it becomes into a two-dimensional model that will allow us to explain how and where groups operate. The where is extremely important because we all can understand how the group behaves, how they sing, how they are organized, how they are created. But the thing is that we need to understand what is the goal of the group. Where do they operate? How empty is the lane of the group? Let's imagine every single group as a business. There are groups that are on the Archetype doing the same. They all run the same vocals, the same type of music, the same type of eras, outfits. And then there are these just crazy psychos that go for something unique, something different, something special that makes them different to the rest. I'll be using two groups, just as I did with Blackpink and Twice. I'll be using them. The first one is going to be Dreamcatcher, because Dreamcatcher goes all the way up in Specialist. And we got the second guest. NewJeans and Dreamcatcher will allow me to explain to you where do they operate. Dreamcatcher is one of the most unique K-pop groups because how they were developed. They were developed to be unique. Tell me a group that sounds like Dreamcatcher. I can only think about one and I remember it today in the morning. Purple Kiss, and they already disbanded. Dreamcatcher is alone on their lane because there are no other groups that actually fit what they are doing now. The rock K-pop focused type of music they got and the lore heavy focus. NewJeans will allow me to explain how groups move different between eras. How one day they can be top Specialist and in 3 years they can be the top Archetype of modern K-pop. Because that's exactly what happened to NewJeans. Let's go back to 2022. NewJeans arrived, and they arrived strong. They became Gen 5 K-pop. NewJeans was the actual first Gen 5 group of K-pop. Many people say no, they're still Gen 4 now. The rise of NewJeans began Gen 5 in K-pop. They were Specialists. Nobody was doing the same as them. Absolutely nobody. That's when they became so popular. Because they brought once again this youthful, fresh, even cute concept. They brought it again with a more modern approach. Rather than going for the traditional cute concept, they brought to K-pop more the G2K concept. And that's why they were stream specialists. But then, as days passed, as months passed, as years passed, we are 4 years away from NewJeans' debut, 2026. And they became the standard. NewJeans became an Archetype. They were slowly descending their way to the Archetype because back when they debuted, back when they reached its peak, they were the Specialist. They were unique. But then the industry adapted towards them. NewJeans became the Archetype as more groups were being born. Groups that also focused on this fresh, youthful G2K concept. You wanna know another group? Elite! Elite is part of this new category of K-pop that NewJeans created. As I mentioned, fresh, youthful, even a little bit cute, but G2K concept, Elite became part of this archetype. And there are many more groups that fit this category that NewJeans created. So, to make things easy to understand, if you still don't understand a single thing that I've said to you, this is the key to understand where they operate. How many groups that are similar could you mention? That is the key to understand how this straight line works. Tell me how many groups are like Dreamcatcher. How many? I already told you one. Purple Kiss, and they already disbanded. They were not even a little bit successful like Dreamcatcher managed to do in such a niche lane, because Dreamcatcher is a niche. Should be a niche actually, but they are broad. They succeeded in modern K-pop being unique. And actually, Dreamcatcher stayed unique because this is not a real concept at all. If it was a whole concept, it would have become an archetype, just like NewJeans did. But only Dreamcatcher managed to pull this off. So they stay as the top specialist of our era in K-pop. Meanwhile, NewJeans began as a specialist, but everybody saw how successful they were because NewJeans Prime made no sense, and the industry adapted to them, creating many more groups that would follow NewJeans concept, NewJeans lane. You see what I'm talking about? How many groups can you mention that are like them? How many similar groups? Do you know those trends that if you like this, then you should hear this? It's the exact same. If you like NewJeans, you should hear Elite. Maybe you should hear Heart to Heart. But if you like Dreamcatcher, what are you supposed to hear? That's the key to understand this straight edge. Because let me tell you something, Blackpink is not a one-dimensional being. Neither these groups. Actually, Blackpink is over here. Because Blackpink became the archetype of the modern girl group. Do you wanna know who else is around them? Them! Blackpink, when they arrived, they were the specialist. But Gen 4 adapted to Blackpink the girl crush concept that was so dominant during early Gen 4, made Blackpink become the global performance archetype girl group. We got La Seraphim, we got ITZY that is a little bit stranger, but they do fit the archetype. We got Cat's Eye and Meow. They are all different groups, but they focus on the same principles. But that's topic for another video, because if you want to learn more about K-pop, make sure to like and subscribe, because I'm Alex in it, and I'll see you on the next video.